Hey, this is Greg Hawks and Dean DaCosta here for another Dueling Sourcers. And today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite types of engineers to look for: mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. And, just one of the things that I always start with is the Board of Engineering, because it's a free resource. You could find all kinds of engineers there: structural, HVAC, electrical. It's a good resource, especially out in the Texas area. I know there's a Texas Board of Engineering that I always used to go to. That's always a good place to start. These guys are more, guys and gals are not on LinkedIn as much. Well, they are more than they have been in the past, but especially for the good ones, sometimes you have to go to some different resources, right, Dean?
Yep. No. I totally agree with you. That's one of the best places to go. It's funny, about literally almost anything out there you search for, you can guarantee there's a government page, whether it's a federal or state, that you can go look on it for. One of the places I like is the IEEE, of course. You look for electrical engineers and all that. That's where they're at. And there's actually a free resource.
Yeah.
Called IEEE Explore, where you can actually look at the different things that some of the members of IEEE have written, and as a byproduct, you get access to their profile and all the information out there about them, and that's free. IEEE you have to be a member of, but this is a way around that where you get it all for free.
Well, they have a community too, because I've actually X-rayed the IEEE community, and that's another resource that you can utilize. And there's another one of those associations and registries. We talk about those all the time. For mechanical engineers, ASME, they also have a community that you can tap into, and a lot of times you can find the screen name and then connect the pieces, and there's more technologies out there that can help us do that. But
Yep.
that's definitely a place that I would go to too, and I've done a couple presentations to where I show how I go and just look for specific profiles in that respect. So
yeah.
And the other thing,
and besides,
and like the FEC, we talked about the FEC too. Fec.gov, that's another resource. And government sites. There's a slew of government sites, and
then you still got conferences. You still have conferences to look at. Believe it or not, there are electrical engineering conferences now. A lot of times, those conferences are industry based, so it might be electrical engineers in government or electrical engineers for airline or whatever, but there's still meetup groups, conferences, all sorts of really neat places to go and look for people. And then, of course, just target companies. Pick your industry, target companies that have what you want, and just go right there and go right after them.
And especially some of the acronyms they use too can be clues, like fire suppression engineers. I remember I had a hard search for a fire suppression engineer. And this was one of those rare occurrences to where you could just put an acronym into like LinkedIn. It was NICET. We were looking for a NICET certified fire suppression engineer. And I just plugged in that one keyword, and I was able to find a very targeted list of engineers. And it was a national search, so it made things a little bit easier. But that's an example of how certification, a license, a specific type of acronym can really lead you to uncover more things. So and then you get all that, and then there are certain certifications that are very specific to certain types of mechanical and electrical engineers, and if you go after those, you can, a lot of times those certifying bodies will have a list, and you can go after that list. So that's another way. And then, of course, white papers and patents. You'd be surprised the number of electrical engineers that have patents of some kind, and you can go after them, especially things like optics and stuff like that. There are patents all over the place. You can go right after them on the patent website or on any one of a number of sites. They'll get you access to the patent database. Well, and usually they'll tell you what company they were at when they had the patent, and plus contact info. Yeah, and I use Google Pens a lot. It's in Free Pens Online. Those are the two that I would go to for all types of patents. I was looking for more scientific folks at the time, but that's a great resource, because like Google Pens in general, you can look up any patent. You can get a downloadable CSV automatically built into this thing, and it's pretty easy to search. You can search by inventor location. It's not straight Boolean, but it's a great resource, and you tie that in with some of the publications out there. Like if you go on IEEE,
it's a good resource to really
Yep.
find more information on people. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, I know, especially out when I was looking in the Texas area, the professional engineers always, especially that's what civil engineering folks are looking for. You know, a lot of times you can just put that into a Google string or Boolean string, and a lot of times it'll be on a company webpage. And
Yeah.
I mean, like just put in professional engineer construction or look on some of the news, because especially on the construction business, a lot of those projects are in the news. They have press releases and things like that. That's another way to gather information as well. So,
You know, one thing I did once when I was actually looking for electrical engineers, I went into my Gmail and I went into Clearbit, and I was able to put in the company, and then I put in the title, and I came up with a list of every single solitary electrical engineer in the company with their work email. Now, granted, it's a work email, but it doesn't matter. I got their name, I got the title, I got the company, and a work email. That's enough for me to go out and be able to find personal information easily. And so it's sitting right there, easy to use, free, ready to rock. And to go along with that, you got, you know, other sites that have all this information available, like a Lead 411 or something like that, where they're there, or Google Groups. Believe it or not, it was funny. I was on Google Groups the other day. I actually looked for mechanical engineers. I ended up finding a electrical engineering group, which I thought was pretty cool. And then I said, I wonder if there's one on Yahoo. Yes, there's one on Yahoo. And so I'm like, wow, okay. So basically you got access to all these people. And then FTP searches, interesting. For those of you who don't know, an FTP is a type of server, and normally they're private, but when you initially set them up, they're public, and you have to make them private, and you'd be surprised the number of people that haven't. So I was searching around, doing some x-raying into FTP servers, and found, I'm not going to name the name of the company, but it's an aerospace company, not mine, and ended up getting basically an employee list, and there was about 20 or 30 electrical engineers, about another 20 or 30 mechanical engineers. I'm like, first name, last name, their email address, and I was ready to rock.
I mean, I found entire directories just out there on an Excel file out there on the web. So I mean, it's and you can use file type to find those types, and I have done the FTP search before too, and it's something that I mean, I was just doing last week is I was looking at a freelancer site, and I looked on Google. I did a site search through Google, and then I did a site search through DuckDuckGo, and then I did a site search through Yandex, and which is a global site search engine, and I found I was getting hundreds more results when I was going outside Google. So that's something also people a lot of times forget about, and there's global search engines out there too that we don't even use. So if you're going outside of the US, I mean, it's a much different animal. So
yeah, well, you know, it's funny, there's a site out there where you can actually compare Bing versus Google. You put in the same string and you get both results. I did it at SourceCon. I've done it on a couple of webinars. The results are never the same. You'd be mind-boggled the things that one finds the other doesn't find, and vice versa. And Google, because of the way they do SEO, you could have 10,000 results. You're not seeing 10,000. You're only going to see about a few hundred, because that's just the way they do it. But you don't have that with Bing. And so if I do a X-ray into LinkedIn for electrical engineers, I can guarantee you that Bing will find more, and Bing and Google will not find the same. I've gone 10 pages deep, which is as far as you can go in Google, and literally only 20% worth the same. And so that's a really cool way to go about and looking at it and remembering, hey, you know, just because I do it in Google doesn't mean I shouldn't do it in Bing, because I'm going to find more than what I originally thought. And that's a really, really, really big deal out there.
And another place I would go and look, which is an older source, I mean, it's unemployment boards. A lot of unemployment boards have postings, and I know the one in Texas specifically would give veterans a heads up on certain positions. So that was a good way to tap into both populations.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've done that a number of times. The other thing is Facebook.
Absolutely, Facebook, and lots of social media out there right now. I mean, do you use Rally Point?
Funny.
Do you use
Yes,
Rally
I
Point?
have actually. Yeah, I'm a member.
Okay,
I'm a
I am
vet.
too.
I have.
Even though I'm not in military.
No, you don't have to be. I'm just saying I am. No, Rally Point's really good. I like Rally Point a lot. And then there's another one out there. It's for mentors, veterans that are out there want to be mentors for other veterans. That's really good, because people will contact you about all sorts of stuff. And usually there's a lot on their bio sitting out there, so you can find a lot of people. And then, you know, it's funny. There's a site out there. It's called Twitter-Lists. and you can actually put in something and it'll see if there's a Twitter list. So like I put in electrical engineer in Boeing, and there was a list of people who are electrical engineers at Boeing.
Right. Yeah.
And that was really easy. Opened it up, scraped it, and went about my merry way doing the rest of it. And it was really pretty cool, pretty simple, and pretty easy. I was actually surprised.
And I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, you talk about Twitter. There's Twitter groups out there. There's and you know, you can find people that way. I mean, there's you mentioned Meetup groups. Those are another way that you can pull people with same interest in engineering and things like that. And you know, sometimes you have to go out and dig for those, but we talk about those types of groups a lot. So
nope, I agree with you. There's a bountiful number of places that you can go out there and find electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and all the ilk, and I think it's just a matter of people not realizing how much is out there. And hopefully when they listen to this, they'll be able to say, wow, I didn't really realize there was that much out there where we could go and find people, you know, relatively, you know, pretty much for free and stuff. And you know, while we're at it, let's not overlook, you know, the Monsters, the career builders, you can't do anything about them. You either pay or you don't. But, you know, you can still search in Indeed. And while you may not get all the info you need, you're usually going to get a name. You usually get an idea where they work and their title. That should be plenty to cross-reference. I've done that on Indeed, and I'm finding like 80% of people within a minute can be cross-referenced and find out everything you need to know about them, even though Indeed's not supposedly letting you. And let's remember SlideShare sitting out there with boatloads of resumes.
Everybody forgets about SlideShare. SlideShare is the LinkedIn. It's where LinkedIn puts the attachments that you add to your LinkedIn profile. So, but you can side search SlideShare and pull resumes and other documents and other presentations. That's what people forget too.
Presentation out there. Yeah, and if you go on the SSAR page I created, the start.me SSAR, if you need to know more about it, go on the Facebook, go on the SourceCon page, sitting there. I have a couple of pre-constructed strings that will search all .coms, all .orgs, all .govs, all .everything. And if you just put in electrical engineer, you're going to find a boatload of people sitting there ready to rock.
You know what, Dean? I actually used a lot of your strings that are on your website when I was looking for engineers too. So I mean, that's a great resource. And and you have quite the inventory in basically every different industry, and you know, especially when I was working all the different types of engineering as well. It was a great resource. So we'll make sure to drop the link to that in the description.
Go with all three of them: the SSAR, the CSE, and the search engine. And by the way, guys, on the CSE one, there's like 600 custom search engines. I'll give you a hint. Every one that Greg's got is on there, and they're all fantastic.
I went a little crazy with that. So, I mean, and you can actually, a lot of people say you can't build multiple CSE to search multiple profiles or multiple profile sites, and yeah, you can, because I've done it.
You can. Now, you can't do some of the things we used to be able to do. Back in the day, you could come up with all these different little hybrids where you can refine to under 10 years, over 10 years. That you can't do without paying now. But to search multiple sites, yeah, I've got one on there for lesser sites. It searches like 25 different sites.
And you can update. You can do it by recently updated now, not just by topic. And there's just lots of little variations you can do with CSEs, and you can build them pretty quick once you have a profile string. Yeah. So,
which brings us to our next thing for electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. Why not just find a college that's what they're known for, and then start looking at their alumni list? I mean,
absolutely.
That's a no-brainer, and there's several places. I think Greg created a CSE for it. There's a couple of sites on the SSAR page that'll let you search the alumni for every school. They'll even let you search for alumni that haven't even graduated yet. They're not going to graduate for another year or two.
Well, I mean, there's so many resources. There really are, and you know, it's really a balance of using the different techniques. I wish I had some of the scraping tools that we have now back when I was looking for mechanical engineers, because it's a whole lot easier to research people than it used to be. I mean, you can plug this stuff into ZapInfo. You can plug this stuff. I mean, you can do all kinds of searches. There's all kinds of search tools out there. There's all kinds of messaging tools out here.
And enhancement tools to boot to help you find more information about it. Right now is probably the best time to be a recruiter. Now that has the double-edged sword. It's the best time to be a recruiter because our jobs became easier, but
the double-edged sword part is a lot of people are learning to be recruiters the wrong way. So you kind of have a double-edged sword. You got a lot of people saying, hey, I don't need to learn Boolean. I don't need to learn semantic. I don't need no natural language. I just play in my ATS, play in my CRM, play in a few job boards, play in LinkedIn, and I'm good to go. And that's
well,
okay.
It still comes down to how you reach out to people too.
Yes, it'll come down to how you reach out to people. More importantly than that, just remember what happens when those things go away. What happens if LinkedIn closes doors? What are you going to do? What happens if you work for a company that can't afford Munster? What are you going to do? And that's what people I think forget is learn the basics. Learn your Boolean, your semantic analysis. Learn how to think out of the box. Learn how to brainstorm. Learn how to find free resources like we do. So this way, no matter whatever happens, you'll always be able to do your job. Because I got news, your boss isn't going to hear, oh, you can't source because you don't have LinkedIn, you fired. They ain't going to want to hear that stuff. They want the job done.
Fortunately, there's people with entire websites of tools to help everyone out and to keep this stuff going open source, because that's what this channel is all about. So, but no, I think that's a good place to end it, Dean.
Yep, I agree.
And I think we're going to throw it to the audience. We want to hear your suggestions for different types of roles to work on as well. We have some ideas that we're rotating, but we're basically, we'll call it the wheel of sourcing, and you guys can help us choose the next topic. So send in some ideas. You can comment in the YouTube video in the comment section, and we'll keep spreading the word and keep sourcing open.
And we don't care if it's technical, non-technical, we don't care what industry. We're trying to cover it all. You know, we've done electrical engineers, we've done Java, we've done doctors, we'll probably do truck drivers sometimes. So whatever industry, just come up with something, and we'll sit here and talk about it and try to give you guys some ideas about where to find them.
Absolutely. It's always a thrill to join you, Dean, talking about this stuff. I really like doing this. All right. But we'll see you next time.
All right. Later.
All right.